Hey guys, Brian the Nerd here, and back for your demand, we are doing another tier list video. Now, this tier list is about all the Dreamworks movies here. Now, if you don't remember, I did do a Pixar movie tier list, and now we are doing the peak of animation studio, Dreamworks themselves here. So they have a pretty wide variety of movies here, and let me just go over the tiers very quickly. At the very top, we have the God tier with the little emojis and everything like that. I didn't know what to call it. I just put the little sprinkles and the little okay emoji there. We also got the fantastic tier, the alright tier, haven't seen, and unwatchable. So without further ado, let's get into ranking the ranking the Dreamworks movies. So for the first one, we have Prince of Egypt. A lot of people in the comments have been telling me, you need to see Prince of Egypt. It's really good. I really do want to see Prince of Egypt. I just haven't seen it yet. I'm waiting for it to come on Netflix, alright? I don't want to go on YouTube and watch this movie, that some random kid posted all the clips from the movie at potato levels of quality here. I don't want to look at I'm watching a Mario 8-bit level playthrough, okay? I don't want to watch that in front of my eyes here. So I'm going to wait for it to come on Netflix, or later down the line in the future, hopefully Dreamworks will make their own streaming service. Please, Dreamworks, we're begging you. So for right now, I haven't seen Prince of Egypt, but I really want to. But for right now, I'm putting it in haven't seen here. Ants. This movie is going to go in all right here. Now, if you're not familiar with this movie, which I'm pretty sure most of you are not familiar with this movie, basically, the CEO of Dreamworks was working at Pixar, and he left the studio from creative differences. He just didn't like the studio, and mostly John Lasseter, but he left the studio to create his own studio, which became Dreamworks, and basically he kind of stole the idea of Bug's Life, and there's kind of a battle between Dreamworks and Pixar of releasing Bug's Life and their first movie, Ants, here. But enough with the corporate background here. We're not ranking the movies on corporate background, okay? We're ranking this on the movie themselves, and as a movie, it does with some pretty, heavy themes. You got people dying, you got political stuff. It's really nutty. But as a movie as a whole, I'm gonna put it in all right. It's not God tier or fantastic, obviously, but it is just gonna go in the all right tier. Chicken Run. Now, this is the movie worthy of the fantastic tier here. If you know me, or if you've been on the channel for any length of time, you know how much I love stop motion animation here, and Chicken Run is, a childhood favorite of mine for many reasons. I really like the story. There's also some political themes in there as well, and I really do like the animation style. It's by the same company that that makes Wallace and Gromit and everything like that, and I'm also a big Wallace and Gromit fan. So, but as a movie, I'm putting it all right. I really like this movie. Shrek 2, our first God tier movie of the day here. Shrek 2 is a God tier movie. It's everything that everybody wanted from a Shrek sequel here. I really like this movie, and if you don't like this movie, then you're wrong, because this is the right way to rank Dreamworks movies, okay? And also, just want to say that since we are ranking Dreamworks movies here, I did mention this at the beginning because I'm too lazy, and also because I forgot, but other than Pixar, people can't really seem to grasp on a whole collective of what is a good Pixar movie and a bad Pixar movie. But for Dreamworks movies, I feel like most people can collectively agree on this tier list here. But for those who don't agree, this is the right way to rank Dreamworks movies. So if you get mad at me, you can't get mad at me, because this is how it is done here. This is how it's supposed to be ranked, and I cannot move it by the legal laws of law. I cannot move these movies from their tier list, okay? Sinbad here. I only watched this movie once, and the only thing memorable about this movie that I can recall from my memory is that the main villain is kind of hot, not gonna lie. But I'm gonna put this movie in unwatchable because I don't remember anything about this movie at all. I don't remember, so I'm just putting it unwatchable. I could have put it in haven't seen, but that's a lie because I've only seen it one time, but I am gonna put it in unwatchable. El Dorado. Now, this is a also childhood favorite of mine. If I could move the thing up. This movie is going to go in fantastic here. I really do like Tulio and Miguel's relationship that they have. They have a really great duo together. I really like the color palette of the whole film. It's just a really great movie every single time when I watch this movie. I always get the same nostalgic feeling that I've seen many times. But this movie, I just really like this movie. Take a drink every single time when I say I really like this movie. I'm pretty sure you get drunk in like the 5 seconds of this video, but please drink responsibly if you're old enough, please, for the love of God. But anyway, El Dorado going to go in fantastic tier here. Spirit is also an alright tier. Okay, phone, cooperate. Spirit is gonna go in fantastic tier. I would have put it in God tier. I really like the animation style, that they've done something completely different. I like how the main character doesn't speak for like, 5 seconds. I really do like the entire movie, but the only reason why I'm bumping it down to a fantastic tier and not a God tier is because the narration. I argue that you can take the narration part out of this movie and it would have made the movie a lot better, in my opinion, because I don't think with a children's movie about a non-talking animal, I don't feel like kids are completely stupid. I feel like they should be treated not like watching a BBC documentary with a narrator of the character being like, I was walking through this field and I'm about to get shot and I'm running away from my life. I'm saving my love interest. Like, I feel like kids are just gonna get bored of that really quickly, and hearing, a guy's voice narrating about what's actually being seen on screen. We have eyes. We don't need to see a narrator telling us what is actually going on screen. So I would argue that you could take the narration part out of this movie and it would have been 10 times better, but we're stuck of what we have here. So I am bumping it down to fantastic tier, but I can still watch this movie and be entertained and be also memorized by the animation and the story and everything like that. So, and also the music is also really great. Forgot to mention, I really do like the music in this movie. Shrek. We all know where this movie is going, guys. Shrek is going to go in front of Shrek 2 here. Shrek is an instant God tier. I don't think I need to explain why this movie is a God tier. It's just an amazing movie. Chef kiss to Shrek. Madagascar. Now, I don't really remember much about Madagascar. It isn't my favorite franchise that Dreamworks has created. That would go to Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon. But Madagascar is one of those franchises that I kind of missed the boat on. I didn't watch the first movie. I'm mostly a fan of the third movie, because I really do like the goofy villain. But we'll get to that when we actually get to the movie and ranking it. But as the first movie goes, I don't really remember much about it, but I am going to put it in all right. That's all I'm going to put it in, because I don't really remember much about it, but I'm not going to bump it down to haven't seen or unwatchable, and it's not going to go up to, Shrek levels of awesomeness, so I'm not going to put it. I'm just going to put it in all right. I feel like it's an enjoyable watch to a certain extent. Anyway, Shark Tale here. I'm gonna put it in all right here. I don't think Shark Tale is completely bad. I mean, it is still pretty bad, but I don't think it's as horrible as many people believe it to be. I only watched the movie because it's a childhood favorite of mine, but I also really do like the goofiness and the meminess of the entire movie, so I am gonna bump it to an all right. What the hell is this? Joseph, King of Dreams. I haven't seen that movie. I don't know what that movie is. Does anybody know what that movie is? It looks, I don't even think is that a Dreamworks movie? Yep, that's a Dreamworks movie. In the very fine print there, it clearly says Dreamworks. So I've never even seen or even heard of that movie. That's weird. I don't like that. The B movie, it's also going to go in the alright tier for, the goofiness and the meminess of the movie. So there's not much to say that hasn't been said already about the B movie. So I am going to put it in the alright tier here. Over the Hedge, it's going to go in fantastic here. I really like Over the Hedge. I'm gonna put it in front of Spirit here. I really do like Over the Hedge. It's a really goofy movie, but it's also a childhood favorite of mine as well. Most of these movies are childhood favorites. I really do like this movie. It's just a really great movie. Do you have an associate's degree from Fern Tech? Kung Fu Panda. Okay, why is my thing... Okay, Kung Fu Panda, the first movie to a fantastic trilogy. This is going to go in the God tier here. It is just an beautifully animated movie. The choreography and everything about this movie, being, faithful to not Japanese, Chinese culture, is so amazing. I really like this movie. And I watched this movie a lot when I was younger, so I kind of have some bias, but I feel like most people would agree that the first Kung Fu Panda movie is God tier. Flushed away. Now, believe it or not, this movie is not stop motion animation. This movie is by the same people that made, Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit, but for some reason they didn't actually they didn't make it out of stop motion and clay and everything like that. They just computer animated it by looking like stop motion, so it's a fake stop motion movie. But as a movie, I don't really remember much about it, but I am going to put it in front of Shark Tale. The Mimi movies stay behind of all the alright movies. Alright, so that's where it's going to go. Shrek the Third. I don't think I need to explain why this movie is terrible. It's unwatchable. I can't stand the fact that this movie existed. Whoever made this movie needs to be fired immediately, because I feel sorry for whoever worked on this movie, for the animators, for the writers, for the voice actors, for everything. Everybody working on this project are probably hating themselves that this movie even existed. And you know what? It does not deserve to be in the unwatchable tier. You know where this belongs? Shrek the Third belongs in its own tier list, okay? Now, the reason why I colored it gray is because to show the dark times Dreamworks has fallen from grace. It's just a bad movie. It's not even unwatchable. It deserves its own tier for being how bad and terrible it is. But I don't really want to dwell on this movie too much because I'm getting Vietnam flashbacks from how terrible it is. Anyway, Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were-Rabbit. This movie is also pretty fantastic. I'm putting it behind Spirit. It's not as good as, El Dorado or Chicken Run, but as a Wallace and Gromit fanboy, because I have pretty much seen every special and every movie that they have released, and I've even played some parts of the Telltale Wallace and Gromit game, I'm a really big Wallace and Gromit fan, alright? So I'm putting it in the fantastic tier. Monsters vs. Aliens. This movie is also going to go in fantastic. I don't think it's completely terrible. It's not as, memey as Shark Tale or a B-movie, but I still think that it is a fantastic movie all around. You got Galaxar, which is probably one of the most goofiest villains ever, and I love him for that. All the side characters are really nice. The animation's all really nice. The action and the whole scope of everything with, the giant ship and everything like that. I really do like the overall scope and collective consciousness of this movie. Everybody who worked on this movie knew that what this movie was, and they were having a really fun time with it, so I can respect that. The Croods, the first movie. I'm gonna also put it in fantastic. I feel like this is probably one of the most gorgeous animations I've seen in a while. I really love this animation style. The really bright color palettes and everything like that. I really do like it. But it's gonna go in front of Curse the Were-Rabbit and Monsters vs. Aliens, but I really do like the whole cast of characters and the overall, creativity of this movie, of like all the creature designs and everything like that. It's just a really fantastic movie. I really like it. Kung Fu Panda 2. If you know me personally, or if you've been on my channel long enough, you know how much I love a specific character from this movie, but I am going to put it in front of Shrek 2 and the first Kung Fu Panda movie. This is a perfect way to make a sequel. It has everything: great animation, great character development, great villain, as many of you may know. I'm a Lord Shan fanboy over here. This is like the Empire Strikes Back of the Kung Fu Panda trilogy here. Everything about this movie is God tier. I just can't get enough of it. It also has one of my favorite soundtracks of any animated movie ever. I love the soundtrack. I love everything about this movie. The overall, the story, the emotion of it. I've seen this movie probably a billion times starting today. Or from today. I love this movie so much. I've been a fan of I've been a fan of it ever since I was very young, and I will always cry at the inner peace scene, no matter how many times I've seen it. It always gives me the heart feels, and it's just a really great movie, really great message as well. Just a really goddamn good movie. Rise of the Guardians, an extremely underrated movie. I am so glad that this movie is getting the recognition that this movie deserves because, man, it is such a great movie. It's so underrated as well. The overall, where this movie came from, from the behind the scenes and the the source material that it's based on gives this movie an extra layer of depth and creativity to it. There's so much lore to it as well, and I'm also glad that Pitch Black is also getting some recognition that he deserves because he's also a pretty underrated, DreamWorks villain as well. So I really do like Rise of the Guardians. Jack Frost as a character is really great as well. All the different side characters, they all have like their unique spin on Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and everything like that. They're just make these characters really badass and just really enjoyable as well. Even some of the characters that don't give enough screen time are also really memorable as well. Madagascar 2, I am gonna put it in. I'm also gonna put it in all right. I'm gonna put it obviously behind the Mimi movie, so that's where it's gonna go. I don't really know much about this. Well, I know much about it, but I still think it's really great. I don't think it's as good as Madagascar 3. That movie was on a whole nother level. But just as the two Madagascar movies, I feel like they're an enjoyable watch, so to speak. How to Train Your Dragon, the first movie. This movie is amazing. God tier. It is going to go in front of Shrek here, the very first Shrek. This is where it belongs on the tier list, the God tier. It's a fantastic start to a fantastic trilogy of movies. It's such a God tier movie. I'm still a little bummed out, and many How to Train Your Dragon fans are also bummed out that it's stuck at 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like, what is it keeping? What is this movie being kept at 99% ever since it came out? Why is it still there? It should be bumped up to 100% because in my eyes and many people's eyes, there's nothing really wrong with this movie. It's just a really enjoyable movie, great story, great characters, great animation, and great message as always that DreamWorks puts a lot of effort into the movies that they, put in, except for, Shrek the Third and everything like that. Megamind, also a extremely underrated DreamWorks movie, but it has gotten the recognition that it deserves. So I'm gonna put it in front of Over the Hedge. I'm actually gonna put it in front of Chicken Run. Actually, I'm gonna put it there. It deserves to be in front of the Fantastic tier. It's leading the charge of the Fantastic tier. It almost sounds like a superhero team. But yeah, Megamind is also just a really great movie. I really like this movie. Shrek the Third, it's an alright movie. It's not as, it's not as near Shrek the Third, bad or unwatchable, but it is an alright movie. It is still a little bit confusing, but I can get behind that. There's some great animation and some great, story choices and everything like that, but I'm gonna put it in the alright tier. Turbo. I don't know where to put this movie. This movie is weird to say the least. It's snails that go fast and is voiced by Ryan Reynolds, and he drinks electric car fuel that makes him super fast, and then he meets Samuel L. Jackson snail and crazy whack characters. I'm just looking back on it, I'm gonna put it in unwatchable. I just don't know what to say. The only good part of this movie is that Snail's Fast remix that actually slaps. But as a movie, I just can't see myself watching it ever again. I don't. Anyway, The Boss Baby. I'm also going to put it in the unwatchable tier because this movie feels like a fever dream. As a person who has watched some crazy, confusing ass movies like 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I'm pretty sure that most people will get bored in the 5 seconds of watching that movie, I can safely say with confidence that I have no idea what the hell this movie is about. I don't know what it is. I get that's supposed to be like, imagination and everything like that, but it's done so poorly that I don't know what's real and what's imaginary. And also, the baby is voiced by Alec Baldwin, which is like a 45-year-old man voicing a child that's dogs. And what is with this movie? I don't know. You know what? Screw it. I'm not putting this in the unwatchable tier. This movie deserves to go into a Boss Baby tier list. All joking aside, it is really goddamn bad. I hate this movie with a passion. I don't like it. I hate it. Trolls. I watched this movie in theaters. And the only thing that actually stood out to me, was the animation style. I really do like the animation style, but as an overall movie, this movie killed my grandma, guys. Like, I'm serious. This movie, I hate this movie. I hate this movie. I'm putting it in unwatchable. I can't watch it ever again. It's so kiddie. It's so boring. It's so childish. It's just like, it's like jingling keys for your eyeballs. It's like, here, be entertained. Like, I'm like, I don't care. That is an hour, and God knows how many minutes left of this movie that I'll never get back. Alright, I hate this movie. Kung Fu Panda 3, now we're back to the tier list with some class here. I'm putting this movie in the fantastic tier. I'm going to put it in front of Spirit here. I'm actually going to put it right here. Now, the reason why I'm putting Kung Fu Panda 3 in the fantastic tier and not in the God tier is because I grew up with watching the first and the second Kung Fu Panda movies, and I'm a big fan of the of the trilogy and everything like that. So when I heard that they were finally making the third movie to an overall great second movie, I was very hyped for it. So when I watched the movie, I was like, yeah, I can get this. I can get behind this. I really do like the overall, the new animation that they've done. It's really updated. It's really, really unique. The color palette's also nice. But the one thing that I can't stand for the life of me, and I don't understand why, Kai. Now, Kai is not a terrible villain out of the franchise, out of the trilogy here. He is not bad, but he is definitely mid as hell. I am a big fan of J.K. Simmons. I love him. I love his voice, but that's and also he fights really cool and his weapons are also really cool. But those aren't really good enough if you don't have a really good character to complement those traits. So that's why every single time when I see, edits of Kai and be like, oh my god, Kai is so cool, and I'm like, I can kind of get it, but he is just so mid that it kind of hurts me in a way. It hurts me a little bit in my heart, but I feel like it does a really good job of continuing, the second movie of, Po finding his dad, but I wish they would have dwelled on it a little bit more instead of getting, a little bit more focus around Oogway's story and everything like that. So I really do like the movie, but it is not terrible, but Kai is still mid. But fantastic movie all around, but it does not deserve, the legacy of Kung Fu Panda 2 or 1. Madagascar 3. Now, this is how you do a third movie. This is more memorable than the first one or the second one for that fact. This movie is going to go right here. I feel like that's a perfect spot for it. They done the villain justice. Such a goofy villain, and she's so badass too, and they even updated the comedy as well, but for the life of me, I cannot get that goddamn polka dot song out of my head. I can't get rid of it. So that's where it belongs on this tier list here, in the fantastic tier. It has a really good, traits of this movie that really bumps it up above, the first and second movie. Puss in Boots. Now, if you remember from my Puss in Boots: The Last Wish review, you probably remember that I mentioned this movie and how much I really do enjoy this movie. But I'm gonna put it in all right here. If that second movie never came out, I would have probably put it in the fantastic tier. But since that movie exists and I love it so much, I'm putting it in the all right tier here. I feel like that's a perfect spot for it. It's not bad. It's all right. It's all right. That's where it belongs. Mr. Peabody and Sherman. I don't know. I don't remember anything about this movie. I'm putting it. Oh my god. I'm putting it in all right. I'm putting it behind the Me movies. You heard me here, folks. I'm putting it behind the B movie and Shark Tale. That's where it belongs there. I don't really remember much about this movie, so I can't really say much about it. How to Train Your Dragon 2. This movie is also how you do a sequel, but it is not as, impactful, emotional as Kung Fu Panda 2 here. The villain is also mid as hell. It's so goofy, swinging his staff around, going, and summoning big dragons. I mean, it's cool and all, but it's so goofy that I can't help but get a little bit of a chuckle out of me. But as a whole movie, I think that it's all right. But yeah, it's gonna go in the fantastic tier. It's gonna go behind Spirit. Actually, it's gonna go in front of it's gonna go, and that's where it belongs. That's where How to Train Your Dragon 2 belongs. So, but yeah. Home. Also, don't really remember much about this movie as well. I'm also gonna put it in all right behind Mr. Peabody and Sherman, but I'm actually gonna put it in front. I'm gonna put it right here. Because I do remember a lot more about Home than Mr. Peabody and Sherman. So that's where it belongs. Penguins of Madagascar. This is, I would argue that this movie by itself is better than the entire, franchise of Madagascar itself. This is a goddamn fantastic movie. Like, immediately, there's nothing, emotional or a deep emotional message or anything like that. But it's just 4 penguins and Arctic animals beating the crap out of an octopus, and I do like octopuses, so, but yeah, it's just a really goofy, fun movie that I really like, so that's where it's gonna belong right here. It's gonna go right, in front of Chicken Run here. I'm just gonna switch this around real quick. Okay, I'm mixing stuff up. Yeah, there we go. That's where it belongs. Trolls World Tour. Haven't seen and don't plan to. It doesn't really look all that interesting to me. Like I said, I hate the first Trolls movie, so I can only imagine how painful this movie must be. But I haven't seen it, so I can't really put it in the tier list. So I can't really rank it. Captain Underpants also haven't seen. But I am a pretty big fan of, the Captain Underpants, book series and everything like that. I grew up on that stuff, okay? So I don't really know much about this movie, but I have seen clips and pieces of it, and I really do think that it's a pretty alright movie, from what I can tell. But like I said, I can't judge and rank it on the tier list because I haven't seen it. So it's just gonna go in the haven't seen. How to Train Your Dragon 3. I really do like this movie. This movie is also pretty fantastic. It's gonna go in front of How to Train Your Dragon 3 here. I feel like it's a perfect end to the series. I really do think that they should have ended the entire series there, just kept the 3 trilogies and some of the spin-off series, and then just ended off after the third one, because that would have made the emotional impact way better. Because I did cry at the very end of watching this movie, as many people did. But after wiping my tears away, I realized that there's still more How to Train Your Dragon to explore, so I wasn't that completely sad about it. But as a movie, I do think that it's a perfect way to end the trilogy off. But I can safely say that I don't really tear up as much as, as I first watched it. So, but it is still a pretty fantastic movie. Crude's A New Age. I really do like this movie. I would put it in all right. I'm going to put it in front of Puss in Boots here. I've only seen it one time. Don't really remember much about it, but I do really like the comedy and everything like that. And the movie has became a little bit of a meme lately. So it's gonna go in the all right tier. Boss Baby. I'm also putting it in the boss. Is that Boss Baby? That's two Boss Babies in one. That's two Boss Babies in one Boss Baby tier. Okay. Yeah, I don't really need to say. Now this. Oh boy. This movie is absolutely God damn, it's so good. I'm sorry. Oh my god, I'm so amazed about how well this movie turned out, and I'm so glad that I finally watched this movie in theaters. And if you haven't seen my review of it, please go see my review if you really want to know my full in-depth opinion about this movie. But I'm pretty sure you can tell about where I'm ranking this movie and also about my enthusiastic tone. This movie is God tier. I can't say anything that hasn't been said about this movie already, but god damn, this movie is so goddamn good. Oh, it's so good. I just can't get enough of it, you know? But anyway, enough, fangasming over this movie. This is how Dreamworks movies are being ranked here, but I feel like most people would probably agree with most of the choices, but if you don't, you're wrong, because this is how you rank Dreamworks movies here. So, that's pretty much it for this tier list video. I really hope you guys enjoy this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I don't care what you do, but you guys know what time it is. So, bye guys.